our bows. We're going where there's no roads. We're gonna have too much fun. 'Cause the air's on the run. Gonna breathe the mountain air. We're gonna see some bear. We're gonna take you where you've never been before. We're gonna cross the river. We're gonna climb some rocks. We're gonna hunt until we drop. 'Cause the air's on the run. See some bear. We're gonna take you where you've never been before. We're gonna cross the river. We're gonna climb some rocks. We're gonna hunt until we drop. 'Cause the air's on the run. Well, there's the air. Where's my gun?
Hello, I'm Jaysen. This is my brother Joe, and welcome to another hunt with On Foot Films.
Jaysen and I have been hunting this country for a number of years now, from the top and from the bottom. And we've made one DVD that you may or may not have seen. It was called 2 Weeks in Purgatory. This is a follow-up to that hunt, and we're going to call it Return to Purgatory. When we made the first video, we saw 2 real good bulls during that trip. One of them we have since killed, and the other one, as far as we know, is still there. There's a pretty good chance we're not always going to be politically correct.
As a matter of fact, we're not always going to claim to be telling the truth.
What we can promise is a real hunt. This is public land. You don't get second chances. You know, I always say you make your own luck, but it also takes a certain amount of
stubbornness,
of good fortune. Yeah, and stubbornness and good fortune to have the camera in the right spot at the right time. And if you miss it, you miss it. But we're going to try. If we do miss it, there ain't another one over the next ridge, but we're going to do what we can, and hopefully it turns out the first one we had a lot of fun with, and we're gonna try to at least do that or improve on it.
There goes Joe Hunter. It's these lower areas still have a lot of incline. Trying to get to areas we've seen elk before. It's hot here. It's early September heat still, and we're down amongst the cactuses. We've seen one rattlesnake already. Not a big one, but he's a biter.
Well, 7 o'clock. First day. Idea was to come up this ridge and get up here and spend the night, listen for some bugling, spot some elk. Over on the skyline, there's a ridge about a mile away. There's a herd of elk in it. Can't see what nothing is at this distance, because they're not right on the skyline. But there's a herd of elk in here. We'll probably keep going that way. About 500 yards here is another ridge, and we'll be able to see a valley pretty good.
We'll be able to look down that too.
And once we get there, we'll see better. We'll probably spend the night on it. From there, there's a big valley. It's got a good creek in it. So we'll probably spend the night there. And if we get there right now before dark, we'll hopefully spot something. And full moon was last night, so we'll undoubtedly hear stuff bugle tonight if there's some in there. Because they should be starting. I'm sure there's going to be some bugling if they're elk in there.
All this area burned last year, so this is all new growth from this last season. The elk have come back.
Yeah, for no more rain in the areas, it's actually pretty green. When you look into it, there's a lot of green in it. And usually there's not, especially because it hasn't rained now since probably the end of June to speak of. So I think a lot of it's just because it burnt. It was all real green this spring, but I think we'll do pretty good in here.
And we camped here on the ridge last night, and Joe had spotted a couple elk up on the skyline. They've since moved down towards the creek that we're heading to. We heard a bugling match start. Joe picked out these elk here that are still on the skyline. You can see them right there. So I thought it was pretty cool.
There's a ridge over here that's got about 30 elk on it. From about 4 to 5 this morning in the dark, you could hear them bugling. There's about 30 elk on that ridge. And there's at least that many more, I think quite a few more, that just came over a distant ridge. So there's a lot of elk. We can hear bugles coming from both bunches, so we can't really make out any horns yet. It's getting daylight enough, but it's still a long ways. Kind of smoky and hazy. Some of them are over rocks and stuff. So we haven't seen the bulls, but we can hear a bull in each bunch.
That's a nice bull there. Joe, that's a 6-point.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
What do you think, Joe? Should we drop down in the valley or get in the timber?
Well, we don't know. We don't want to go down here.
No, I'm talking about up there.
Well, we definitely want to go that way and get up there on that ridge. I think because it depends. A lot of times when they get in that creek bottom, they go up the bottom of it and then take a left into that timber.
Yeah, okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That don't mean they're going to do that again, but we've seen them do that before. You know, after they mill around here, they go up and take a left into that green patch of timber.
Okay.
So, I think until we know where they're going, we don't want to get below that, because if these thermals start coming up, then we'll be fouled up.
Did you see that second bull yet?
No. Well, there's a spike.
But I mean the one that's bugling.
No. There's the bigger 6-point that's bringing up the rear. And then there's a spike in that little swampy stuff.
Okay.
And there's a bugle coming out of there that I haven't got to see.
Okay.
My new camo pattern.
The cow camo. It worked for Wile E. Coyote.
This was our first sneak of the hunt. We thought we were okay with the wind, but a few elk had gotten higher on the hillside than we realized, and the thermals had started to come up the hill that morning, and a couple of cows winded us, and it was a done deal before we hardly got started.
He's dead. He's too pooped butter. It's pretty doggone warm out here. Yeah, you got a buck tag. Yes, I did. What on the bottom right is the thing? Yeah. Well, I don't know. That one looked dead. A bit ago, but a minute ago, he turned his head and looked behind him down towards where Jaysen went. Now he's a little more alert. I don't know if he's on to him or not. But he went from looking dead to looking upright and looking back behind him. Jason's making a sneak on him. He's gonna try to come on that rock behind him. But he doesn't have a real good setup. Damn it. What do you got, Joe? I come around there. There's a cow come up out of that creek bottom on that hill over there. It's probably 400 yards. And I was coming up, there's a trail here, and I was coming up this trail. And I probably could only see my upper half. The lower half was under brush. And I swear she was looking right at me when I seen her. Wind's blowing straight to me, and she's 400 yards away. And she's standing there. She looked like she's looking right at me. I had my binoculars in my pack. But I think she was a cow. It's a long ways, but a pretty good backdrop behind her head. I'm sure it's just a cow. But she went back down in the draw. And when I kind of eased down and took my pack off, and she turned around and walked back down. So unless she's seen me, I don't know how, somewhere down the trail. She already had me pegged.
That was a good spot, Joe.
Yeah, she made it dandy. She didn't do too bad.
She doesn't even have binoculars.
Yeah, she didn't run off, but maybe she wasn't looking right at me. She's just feeding that way, but God, it looked like, I didn't have my glasses, but it looked like she was staring right at me. I thought I saw a piece of elk in some of that smaller trees on the left side of the creek. But by the time she let me move a little bit and I put my stuff down, I can't see it again and I can't find it. So now I've moved a little bit, so I wouldn't swear it was an elk. But that bunch you got into earlier, Jaysen went ahead earlier, and we ate a bunch of elderberries and had empty stomachs. Next thing I knew, I was puking and kind of out both ends. And so Jaysen ran ahead and got some water just because I told him, hell, I'm going to take a nap. It's the middle of the day, it was hot. So Jaysen went ahead to this canyon here.
We were out of water, too.
Yeah, we were out of water anyway, and which is kind of the reason we were eating a bunch of the elderberries, because the last 3 creeks didn't have any water, so we thought, well, there'd be some juice there, but that was a bad idea.
Not my first one, but it wasn't one of my better ones for sure. But anyway, is that a deer down there? Anyway, Jaysen went ahead and got water while I was taking a nap and recuperating and all that. There's that elk. Anyway, he jumped some elk I saw some elk in the bottom of this.
Yeah, I saw a 5-point down there.
That might be him right there.
Yeah, I got him.
him. That's a small brown antlered bull, kind of what you described.
There. See, I saw one of the smaller ones when I said I was on buck.
Yeah.
I never did see him. He must have been out ahead of him.
Tell you what, it would be fun to go on a good mule deer hunt next year.
Yeah, I think so.
We don't tend to see many real big bucks in this country. We've seen some good ones on occasion, but this was the biggest on this trip.
We found Osama. One of the old homesteads, Joe.
Yeah. Looks like they had like a little cellar. There's steps right out there coming out of this big hole in the ground. And you can see a back rock wall. Winters here can be really brutal. And then summers can be really hot. So maybe by having this thing dug in, well, maybe the building just wasn't very tall. It was almost like they had their house down in the ground. It would probably be a lot easier to heat in the winter. And it would naturally stay cooler in the summer, I suppose. So, I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of leery about diving in because, you know, in the old westerns, they always go in and get the old rattlesnake out of the old cabin. And so I'm kind of poking around here.
Come on.
Take one
The
for the
world
team.
wants to know.
Take one for the team. But I'm not the snake guy. But anyway, I guess that's what it is. It's kind of cool. You know, I can see something steel over there, but there's a stove over here. We're at an old homestead site, and this is definitely an old homestead site in the map. But I just figured everything was gone. We've walked by this before.
Where's that stove at, Joe?
It's right here.
Oh yeah, I didn't see it.
It's what's left of it. There's an old stove.
Oh, that is cool.
It says Banquet. That's the name of it on there.
You shit me. Oh man. Okay. I got him. Yeah. Crap. I see him. Not very big.
When all you people complain that we're always whispering on the deal, that's why.
Yeah. See a spike.
They're both gonna come up.
Is he in the same trail?
Yeah, he's just behind them. They'll be coming in.
Well, the elk are gone. But we came back to get our packs. And Joe spotted these apples and there's plums back here. Basically, it'd be the backyard of that old homestead. There's a running creek down here too. Did you bring any for me?
You do realize them elk are getting away.
Plums, man. Plums.
Problem is, most of them bears are taller than I am.
You can be like Robin Hood and shoot it out of the tree.
Yeah.
Hit it. Hit it.
Need a bigger stick. Oh, here's one.
Nice
Pretty
job.
good deal.
Palms are good.
Milk are still getting away.
Yeah. You done screwing around?
No? Good
Remember what those elderberries did to you?
Ah, you worry too much.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll just run and get you some water.
I just need to run and get me water. I just need to stop and go potty. This is the ridge the milk went over. Kind of hard to tell in the video, just like a picture. But it's a ways up this ridge. I don't know, we've been climbing for a while now, and I don't know what kind of elevation we've gained, but 800 feet or so. It kind of takes it out of you, come up a hill like that. We used to come up, and we still do, but we've in the past made a couple of these trips up these a day. we try to avoid that now. But hunting this country, you end up coming a lot of these ridges. It's kind of hard to tell in that video when we came up, but it's pretty comparable to if it went up that ridge right there. We're still not on the top yet. But if a guy wants to really hunt this country, it's not too hard to come over here and say you were here. But to really come and hunt it, and you know, with a better chance of being successful and finding some good bulls, this is where we find them. You see elk on top, you see a lot of other hunters on top when it was open. But we've had a lot better success when we get out into this stuff. I don't know how many more of these trips I'm going to make. I'm 41 now. Jason's laughing.
Yeah, I'm 31. I don't know how many more trips these I'm going to make. As soon as he retires, I retire.
Yeah.
But they're coming this way. You know, they're cruising this way, though.
We spotted these elk and watched them as evening came. There was a bull bugling right below us, but we could never see him. We could see this young 6-point though, and we ended up spending the night about 100 yards above where we filmed this. The next morning, they were still right in the same draw.
I wish we had that 4X lens instead of this Doubler. I wish we were about over on that knob. Yeah, about 20 yards away. I'm on 3. That is a bull below him, Jason. That's 3 bulls. Yeah. Did you see that one just gotta toss that other one? That third one's a bull too. Shit, it's too bad we couldn't get down. All 3 of those are bulls. Well, there's a 6-point less than half that far away. I know. I mean for the footage of the fight.
I ever tell you you're my favorite brother? Packing an elk out here would be fun.
I don't even know what to say. He was too far for me to be shooting at him. I knew I couldn't get any closer at that point. He was broadside, so I gave it a shot. I didn't get a chance to get where I wanted to. I probably could have got about 10 yards closer, but then I'd have been in the open. We're getting low on tape and battery right now, but wanted to give a quick recap. There ended up being 6 bulls in that herd. Joe was calling from back here with the camera, and I was doing a sneak. There's about 20 some cows, and it seemed like they were taking turns looking at me, so it took me forever to get to where I thought I wanted to be. And then eventually they left the timber. We were taking a nap up on the ridge after I blew the shot on the 6-point this morning, a different 6-point. And Joe heard a bark. So he came back and got me, and we had to get water anyway. And this is one of the creeks that's year long. So we were going down for it. We heard a bugle, so we paused for an hour and a half or however long that was to go chase them around. And now we're back on our water schedule.
What do you got, Joe?
Oh, there's a herd of elk over there, 700-800 yards away. And I think it's the same bunch that earlier today when we were going to get water, a couple of ridges over here. They were bedded down in a draw. And we bumped them, but not very bad. They just kind of meandered over this ridge. Now it looks like they're a little further down that ridge. But we thought there was already a herd of elk in this canyon, so we're not sure, but I think it's that same bunch.
Every sneak I've been on has been different, all posing their own unique obstacles and conditions, usually ending in the familiar outcome of the animal getting away. And as far as being unique, this stalk was definitely a first for me, as we found a bull that could not stay awake, making me think that this was the elk for me. The only problem was that he decided to take his nap on a steep, rocky incline in the wide open. We were 150 yards away, and I'm a 30-yard shooter on a good day. Joe and I discussed our options that looked pretty bleak. Our little chat ended with me wanting to take a crack at it, and Joe planning to film from above, telling me that it cannot be done.
Well, I didn't say it couldn't be done, but I didn't think you could do it. I thought he would get up and wander off before you could cover that kind of distance. You know, knowing that it would take a couple hours to sneak up on that, I figured in the amount of time it would take a guy to do that, that bull would get up and wander off.
Yeah, we were both surprised that he gave me the time of day without knowing I was there.
The conditions would have to stay just right, and you'd have to just go so slow that a lot of times they'd get up and wander away before you could close that distance. But you did it right, and it worked out good, so it's a good deal. When this bull stood up, I was expecting to see an arrow come into the viewfinder. When I didn't see one, I realized Jaysen couldn't see him for some reason. And I wanted to get him to stop and look around and give Jaysen a little bit of time and let him know something was going on. And I realized I'd left my cow call in my shirt pocket that I ditched earlier. So I was just making a noise to get him to be curious and maybe hold up by Jaysen a little bit of time.
Yeah, it worked pretty good. When he did stand up, all I could see was the tops of his antlers from a rock I was hiding behind. And I knew that being between him and the herd, there was a pretty good chance of him heading back that way. And he did.
Holy cow, I can't believe that. There's Jaysen's 6-point bull. Went about 50 yards. After it took Jaysen about 2 hours to go 100 yards. Oh man. Woo! How about that, huh? And they told you couldn't do that.
You know, I took my boots off up there to be super sneaky, and I had those bright white socks, and I thought, well, I can't have them. And I got I'll have to do thorn maintenance later on the old feet.
Oh, you took socks off too?
Oh yeah. You can see his feet and duct tapes wrapped around him. And yeah, he right when I kind of got behind, there's a big rock between me and him.
Yeah.
I see the tips of his antlers. I seen him raise his head up.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh no. And I gotta admit, I probably have never prayed for more than 2 hours straight in my whole life. I guessed him at 30 yards, and he was kind of angled towards me, and I kind of went for that front shoulder, and I hit exactly where I wanted to.
Ready, go.
It wasn't much to track. Joe could see him from where he was filming, and I was blind once he fell over here. Once he fell over, I pretty much knew he was done. But we haven't been down there yet. I kind of wanted to save the hugs and all that stuff we can get the camera up. So here he is. This is actually my first bull. I've been hunting. I just never admitted that ever before, that I'd never killed one. This is like my 8th year, maybe 9th year hunting. Killed a cow about year 2, and I missed lots.
And this thing is real close to that 6-point you missed Monday. You know what I mean, size-wise?
He is.
He's
Come on down, Joe. Just film coming down.
Okay. It's going to get bumpy because I'm probably going to fall down. If you see the sky and then the ground and the sky then the ground, that's just me.
It didn't go through.
No, I can see a bunch of it sticking out.
Yeah.
Hang on here, let me go.
6x6?
Oh yeah?
I thought he was a 5x6.
Oh, I knew it was a 6x6.
And then I kind of quit paying attention to that and just was paying attention to where I was going on that snake. That was that was probably the longest 2 hours of my life, or an hour and a half.
It was 2 hours. It was because I was up there, my teeth were chattering. If it wasn't on a tripod, that'd have been the worst footage you ever seen. I was shaking.
Longest 4 years of my life was the Marine Corps. Longest 2 hours of my life was this.
Oh man. Well, it was getting cold once that sun went down. I was starting to get cold. I was going to throw rocks at him if you didn't hurry up.
I was trying.
No.
Not to repeat him from the last video, but we finally got him. And thanks, big brother.
Hey man, good job. Good job.
I told him he couldn't do it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm tearing up from joy or the thorns in my feet. But yeah, like I said earlier, it's my first bull. And yeah, please. We got part of the arrow. left. Somehow it unraveled. Somehow it, however that works. We got him here. We got to get him about 4 miles.
It's Thursday evening. It will take us all of Friday and all of Saturday. By Saturday night, we should be crossing the river with him.
Yeah, and there's gonna be a few meat packs, and there he is.
Yeah, that's handy.
Nice 6x.
Good job.
He's actually the satellite. There's a 7-point bull that this guy was on the outside of that herd from that I could never really see very well or get within, what, a few hundred yards.
Well, he had 30 cows. Or
and yeah, and he had a bunch of eyeballs around him, and I just told Joe, I said, you know, if I get within, well, there was a 5-point there too, and I said, you know, if I get close enough to that 5-point, I'll take him. We tried to stalk on the 5, and it didn't work out. They just kind of moved on, and we didn't spook them. And we went a little farther, and Joe spotted this guy, and he goes, "There's that 5-point." We looked again and said, "No, there's that 6-point."
I told him he couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was being nice. Yeah, he said, I said, "Can I do it?" He says, "No." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Well, we could try a different game plan." And I didn't see one today, and being kind of greedy, I said, you know, I just want to try it. And I missed a 6-point earlier, like Joe said, and it's on video. And I really thought I could do a smart sneak, and with a little bit of hope and good things on the side.
1 in 100 odds got to come around sometime.
After you miss 99, it's got to happen.
No, I don't want to kid.
So,
Now, Jaysen, we were looking at this bull, but he was in the wide open. And Jaysen said, well, let me sneak on him. And I said, Jesus, Jaysen, you're going to have to go 150 yards, and it's absolutely wide open. It's deeper than a cow's face. You kick rocks loose all the time. It rained a little last night for the first time in months, but the wind is blowing all day long. And so while the ground's still a little moist, a lot of this other stuff is already dried out. The stuff that rattles. The crunchy stuff is crunchy again because it's right up in the wind. Yeah, that's a good deal. That was good.
all right.
Good job. You got a broken brow tine here, and I think it's when it fell down the hill.
I don't know if that camera caught it. Joe said there was brush in the way from his angle, but it was awesome. He took about several steps, kind of looked at me, and just wham.
Yeah,
And it was cool.
The main herd had stopped over here, and this satellite, he was out here by himself, and that 7-point was over there. But you know,
That's a nice 7-point too.
it's a
We
dandy
didn't
bull, but
spook
you
him.
can't go. I mean, Jay, we have been all over this thing, up one side and down the other for several years, and you are as overdue as anybody out there as far as working for it. You were overdue, and you shoot, it's your tag. You shoot whatever damn well you want.
I know.
And if somebody don't like it, well, heck with them. I mean, that's a dandy bull.
I don't think anybody will not like this guy.
No, that's a good deal.
Well, we're going to take care of him and start moving him out. I don't think we're going to be able to get little victory photos because the camera's about a mile away. But we'll get some packing photos, and we got some packing to do.
You got to pack the heavy parts.
Oh, great.